Hi, thank you. Hi, I'm Steve Collier, and I've spent a long time working at various CDMOs over the years. And really, I've come to believe over that time there's five pillars that make up a successful CDMO. And these are really strengths in process development, analytical development, and manufacturing from the operational perspective. There's quality assurance, which underpins all of the GMP activities. And then there's the business side, which really is overarching for the whole project. And there's also project management, which just weaves all of this together into a unified project. I think the reality is few CDMOs are truly strong in all five areas. And at times that can also depend on who you actually get on your project as well, which individuals are working on your program. And having had experience in CDMOs does provide you with some unique insights into these five areas and how it all interplays, and the potential tensions between these groups, and how to mitigate some of this. And I can give a couple of examples. And again, sometimes the perceived issue can be circumstantial, or it could be a more inherent issue with a company. But CDMOs are hungry and they take on a lot of work, and they're often really busy, particularly the good ones. And if you feel there's a lack of strength or capacity or just time because of the timeline of your project, in process research and development or analytical development, one strategy you can take is to divide out work packages and put them in more specialized providers. This kind of links to some of what Ken was saying. You can use a secondary provider and then integrate the outputs of that work back into your primary CDMO. And some examples of that can be impurity ID, looking at impurity synthesis and the fate and effects of these impurities in the process. Equally, analytical method development and co-validation. And you can look at how you leverage not just one CDMO, but a portfolio of these companies to get the right output, the right outcome for your project. Another example, another really important area is manufacturing. And when you've worked on the inside of a CDMO, you kind of understand how scheduling works and how capacity is mapped. And as an innovator, it's important to understand what the capacity availability is, how far companies are booking out, who controls that capacity. And then also an important consideration is how many commercial projects do they have? I mean, they could be internal generic projects or external innovator projects. And something I found really useful, both on the inside of a CDMO and on the innovator side, is the ability to leverage if a company has commercial projects to create more opportunity in the plant. So potentially a company could move out a commercial batch because they have more visibility on the timing of its delivery to allow you to squeeze in an additional API batch. On the other side, the projects that we do as innovators there's inherent risk there, and sometimes we end up delaying a project, and that creates a gap in the CDMO's plant. If they have commercial manufacturing, sometimes what I've done in the past is we've moved forward a commercial project to bridge that gap and to minimize the impact on the CDMO, but also the financial impact of paying for plant time that's not being used. I think another, linked with this, with commercial manufacturing, obviously, if your CDMO has commercial capabilities, it's obviously an advantage because you may not need to tech transfer processes between vendors. They know how to validate. They know how to routinely manufacture things efficiently. Another example on the kind of manufacturing side is it can be really important to understand how the plant operates, how the shift rotation is. Is it 12-hour shifts 5 days a week? Is it a full 24 hours a day, 7 days a week operation? And how is it staffed on those more off hours? unfortunately, things tend to go wrong at 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning, right? When often there's limited on-site support, the QA coverage might not be there, QC may be limited. So understanding what that staffing is can really help you plan when you want to do certain activities. You don't want to be running your your critical IPC for a validation process over the weekend. You want to, unless you've got the staffing there to ensure if anything wobbles, you can deal with it. And so just looking at the, things that may not be obvious unless you've been on the inside of a CDMO can help you, navigate a path to success when you're working, particularly in a virtual setting. Another final comment is on the business side, and as Ken mentioned, CDMOs work to budgets. We all do. And often CDMOs can be driven by quarterly numbers and particularly year-end numbers. And that can influence how they behave. And it can drive them to pushing to ship material before the end of their fiscal year so they can realize the revenue. That if you understand that, then you can work with a company to try and help them navigate this and come up with a mutually agreeable approach to invoicing that works well for both sides. These are just a couple of examples, but kind of to tie this up, I think having people with CDMO experience on your team can help a company understand why certain decisions are made at CDMOs, and how to navigate these to get outcomes that work for both sides. So you can really, collaborate well. And if you don't understand why, it'll help you figure out what threads to pull on to get that understanding. So that's kind of where I want to end this. There's just a lot of being on the inside gives you a unique perspective, and it can be really, really helpful for innovators. Thank you.